Welcome back to Posh and Plastic. I'm your host, Kylie, joined here by the Janice to my Damien, Amber.
Hi guys.
Thanks for tuning in to another week. We're so grateful for everybody and all the new friends we're making along the way. Just a quick reminder, if you wouldn't mind rating and reviewing the podcast, or if you're watching us on YouTube, giving this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. We would love to have you here, and make sure you're answering our questions of the week. We want to hear your conversations, and we're adding those to our Instagram feed as well so everyone can see what everyone's saying. So check out our question of the week. Anywho, Amber, how's your week been?
It has been a week. I've definitely got to say, a lot of, just been stressful
Yeah,
with work. What about you?
same. Lots of stuff going on at work, and then the whole Britney and Justin dramas continues with him popping off at his concert.
Literally, like, he needs, like, I've said this and I'll say it again. He can crawl back in his hole. We didn't ask for him. I didn't ask for him to come back out. He can go.
Yeah, nobody did.
Um, no, but I will tell you, and I'm disappointed in myself. But I was casually listening to music this week, and I have Apple Music, and it was just playing whatever, stuff they had. And I got into this song, and I got about 30 seconds in. I'd never heard it, and I was like, this is pretty good. What is this? I looked down. I'm not even joking. Selfish Justin Timberlake. I shut that shit off. I was like, I don't care how good it is. He gets no more of my streaming.
No, same. Like that happened to me a couple times on Spotify, and then I would click. I'm like, oh no, this is Justin's song. I gotta turn it. I can't give him a stream.
Oh, I know they're slipping it in places now because like they have like at the office DJ mixes and stuff, and it's just like easy listening. And so like it popped on, and I was busy working, so they got me for a second, and I was like, wait,
I think they're trying to over get over this slump that they're on, but because I've seen just random celebrities promoting it on their pages, and it's like
hmm
that was random.
and
How
I'm like,
much did Justin pay you?
right, and I'm like, do you even know who Justin is? I can't. Yeah, but he irks me because he's just a full-on clout chaser. He takes no responsibility for anything that he's done. He basically either pawns it off on someone else or just kind of deflects it away. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I can't respect him. If he could come out with a legitimate, genuine apology for, the couple of things he has done to some of the women that he's performed with or been with, I could maybe respect him, but like he won't do that. He beats around the bush too much.
Yeah, I'm thinking if I have time, I kind of want to do like a deep dive YouTube video and like a compilation of all the things he's done and remind people we're not just being like crazed Britney fans. Like this guy's trash.
It could be interesting. I mean, who doesn't want to see a couple of those throwback ramen noodle hair pictures?
Oh, anywho, guys, we'll stop. For those who like Justin, we'll quit. All right. Do you want to drop the line?
All right, guys, let's wind up, wind down, and let's hit rewind. All right, Kylie, what do you got for us today?
I will be covering the legendary Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen. I do apologize in advance. I'll kind of be bleeding into the 2000s just a little bit, but you can't cut the story off in 1999, and you can't start it in 2000 either. But anywho, my sources include fullhouse.org, IMDb, Wikipedia, Reference for Business, Teen Vogue, People, eBay, 1:37 p.m. And honestly, my brain, because I was obsessed with them, and I think I was even a member of their fan club. So I really looked things up just to kind of confirm like years and statistics and things. But quick disclaimer before we dive in, if you are a fan of the Olsen twins, you should already know they like to keep their personal life sealed up, like their lips, but private. So I'm going to respect their privacy, and we're just going to discuss their professional lives today. And honestly, it's enough. And we got to save time anyway, because Amber's got a lot for us too. So we're going to It's going to be a longer episode today, guys. Sorry, but it's going to be a fun one.
It'll be so good, I promise. It's definitely going to be worth it.
Okay, so twins Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen were born on June 13th, 1986. Ashley was born 1 minute earlier than her sister Mary Kate. On this day, no one knew that their future would what their future would hold for them, and surely no one knew how fast the future would come. 9 months later, the girls were casted to star as Michelle on the upcoming hit series Full House. Child labor laws created struggles for television as creating an episode requires long hours for cast and crew. Booking twins for one role was the jackpot that creator Jeff Franklin hit when casting the Olsens. In Full House, Michelle was the youngest of the Tanner family. After her mother passed away, her father Danny joined forces with his brother in law Jesse and best friend Joey to raise Michelle and her two older sisters, Stephanie and DJ, in the city of San Francisco. The show also starred and created very famous names for Bob Saget, John Stamos, Dave Coulier, Candace Cameron, and Jodie Sweetin. And it also later brought in Lori Laughlin, Andrea Barber, and Scott Weiner, who were equally as loved by families across America. In Full House first season, the show actually did not have great ratings. It aired on Friday evenings at 8, 7 Central, and it wasn't following anything popular, unlike most new series. Despite this failure, ABC made the decision we were also thankful for and renewed Full House. And in its second season, it was strategically placed in the lineup behind popular television show Perfect Strangers. This helped it rapidly grow in popularity, scoring it a spot in the top 30 TV shows rated by Nielsen's TV ratings, which are like the TV ratings we had back then. And eventually it worked its way up to the top 25 and even top 10 for seasons 5 and 8, with its top episode, season 5, episode 26, racking in 15,977,770 viewers. And keep in mind, this is before streaming. So that meant almost 16 million people worked their schedule around being able to stop, sit down, and watch Full House at the same time. So throughout this time, we grew to love Michelle Tanner. During the midst of Full House's success, Mary Kate and Ashley, or often referred to as the Olsen twins, starred in their first movie in 1992, To Grandmother's House We Go. This was also produced by Jeff Franklin and had cameos by Full House co-stars Bob Saget and Lori Laughlin. And the twins played Sarah and Julie, twin sisters who get the impression that their mom is tired of them, so they decide to run away to visit their grandmother for the Christmas holiday. And along the way, they come across two crooks, played by Rhea Perlman and Jerry Van Dyke, who end up kidnapping the girls. And it's a movie filled with adventure and holiday music. It's a really cute movie. I remember loving this one when I was little.
I feel like I vaguely remember this one. This doesn't sit at the top of the list of what they've done, obviously, for me, but I do vaguely remember this being something they did.
Yeah, I remember they couldn't cross the street, which I wasn't either, and so they
Mm-hmm.
hopped on a bus. It was just like little things like that. Like they
Yeah.
they were probably like 5 when they did this movie, maybe 4. So they were figuring out life still. And the holiday movies continued the following year with their next hit, Double Double Toil and Trouble, a Halloween movie starring America's favorite twins, Mary Kate and Ashley. And this movie was actually directed by Stuart Margolin. And this movie was about twin sisters, Kelly and Lynn, who try to save their parents from an evil aunt. They soon discover that aunt has a twin as well, and her sister is trapped in a mirror, and they must break the spell.
Oh my god. Yes. I think I even remember the cover of the movie for this one too, with them in their
Oh,
little
yeah.
witch outfits.
Yes, they're
To
so cute.
die.
But 1993 wasn't just a year for the twins to be busy with Full House and their first Halloween movie. This was a very pivotal year for them. They opened their own production company, DualStar Productions, and their debut production under DualStar was titled Our First Video, and it was filled with many great bops, including Brother for Sale and One Buffalo, Two Buffalo, which is a great hit. I strongly recommend you go look it up on YouTube if you do not know it.
Not Brother for Sale, because I like occasionally get the earwig for that song occasionally, and oh my god.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think they're all available on YouTube if you need to scratch that itch.
Don't tempt me with a good time, because there's another one I need to watch it. I'll mention when you mention it, but
Okay. This was just the start of their legacy. Under DualStar, they continued with their family movies, making How the West Was Fun in 1994 and It Takes Two in 1995, starring the late Kirstie Alley. The Olsen twins were quickly rising to their fame on their own and even had guest star roles on shows like Hanging with Mr. Cooper and Sister Sister, and a cameo in the Little Rascals feature film. And while Mary Kate and Ashley were the owners of DualStar, obviously they weren't the ones who came up with the idea or made this happen. The family worked with entertainment attorney Robert Thorne, who not only got them a raise over industry standard for their work on Full House, but he also helped them develop DualStar. And it seemed like he really made sure the girls were cared for in the industry. And this was a great career move for the girls since in 1995, their home bread and butter Full House was canceled after 8 seasons. But this did not mean rest time for the girls. They immediately began creating straight to video series. The Adventures of Mary Kate and Ashley was a series about the twins playing themselves as detectives, solving mysteries in their everyday lives. And as they transitioned into their tween, or as we called it back then, preteen years, they more so focused on creating more videos for their series, You're Invited to Mary Kate and Ashley's Cool Parties. And each episode of this series focused on a different themed party for the girls that were throwing them for a couple of friends. And these were videos that were either checked out at Blockbuster or you would beg your parents to let you check it out that week. In addition to video sales success, the girls also launched a mystery book series based on the adventures of Mary Kate and Ashley with the same title. And I definitely owned the case of the Ballet Bandit.
Oh my god, you just set off like I forgot they had a book series.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
Scholastic.
god.
I'm pretty sure it was Scholastic. I want to say I got it at the book fair.
Oh yeah, solid.
Yeah, this was a huge move for the girls. And 1998 was a huge year for them as well. They were jumping from kids entertainment and giving us more of an adolescent chapter. Really, 1998 and 1999 were the years that the girls went from stars to absolute icons. They did the movie Billboard Dad, starring Pretty Little Liars Troyon Belsario. And this movie follows the many dates of their starving artist father after they rent a billboard and basically post that he's single and looking to mingle in an attempt to make him happy. And they also made their way back to television this year. Returning back to ABC, they starred in the sitcom Two of a Kind, and this series focused on the twins and their widowed dad, Kevin, who was a busy college professor. And he ends up hiring his student Carrie to nanny the girls. And this had an impressive list of recurring guests that played their friends. So we have Martin Spaniers, who played the little brother Rory on Eight Simple Rules. Our beloved Orlando Brown, best known as Eddie on That's So Raven. And our spooky queen, Kimberly J. Brown from Halloween Town. Yes, she's in
I love her.
it. And this series was also extended into a book series. This was also the start of their iconic series of movies, where honestly, looking back, it feels like these cities were probably paying them to come film to promote tours. But in 1998, they released Passport to Paris, which honestly was iconic. We
Yes.
all learned what escargot was from that movie. The girls go to Paris, they stay with their grandfather over the summer, meet cute boys, and go on adventures. This starred Ethan Peck, who is actually the modern day Spock on whatever Star Trek we're on these days. This movie was both of the girls' first on screen kiss in a film, minus their little cheek kisses in Billboard Dad, but yeah, this was their first on screen kisses. So pressure. This was really when fans were getting into their fashion as well. Around this time is when they also released You're Invited to Mary Kate and Ashley's Fashion Party, which was filmed at my dream school, FITM, which I've
Hmm.
mentioned before, which is the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. And they had really started expressing their interest in becoming fashion designers, which naturally led to their fans loving their fashion too. They also did a wonderful World of Disney special on ABC called Switching Goals. And this movie was about twins, one being into soccer and one being a girly girl, and they had to switch places. So your typical twin swapping plotline, kind of like It Takes Two. The downside of this film was that the girls started being divided, by Ashley being marked as the girly one and Mary Kate being labeled as a tomboy. Mary Kate was into horseback riding, but based on her interest in fashion, it seems like she was always like deemed more tomboyish than she truly was. Okay, so 1999 was the year that the girls peaked, in my opinion. So they have their series, they have their movies, even books on their resume. So what's possibly next for them? Dolls. That's right. Mattel released Mary Kate and Ashley dolls. I had one that was Mary Kate, and I don't know how you can buy a kid one and not the other, especially when their birthday is a month before Christmas and it's basically gift season, but whatever. The Mary Kate doll had she had a red sweater with a stripe in the middle, and it had pajamas and horseback riding clothes. And then Ashley wore this gray floral skirt with a spaghetti strap tank and a cardigan over it. And then hers also came with pajamas and had a ballerina outfit for the recreation part. Again, the girly girl versus the tomboy. But if getting into the toy industry, why stop at dolls when you can also make a break into the video game industry? So DualStar partnered with Nintendo to release the New Adventures of Mary Kate and Ashley video game, and later released the game Mary Kate and Ashley Sweet 16 License to Drive. How fetch. And they provided the voices for these games as well as it giving the girls initiative to play video games as well. So, continuing the peak of their career, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen started busting out movie after movie under their Dual Star production company, taking place all over the world. So, their next movie was Our Lips Are Sealed. That one took place in Sydney, Australia, where the girls had to play twins who witnessed a crime and had to join the witness protection program. After that, there was Winning London, which goes without saying, took place in London, and it starred Eric Jungman, who I remember playing a bully in an episode of Even Stevens. So that's where I knew him from. Then we had the obvious 87-minute infomercial for the Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas, Holiday in the Sun. This
Yes.
movie was truly iconic for so many reasons. It introduced us uncultured tweens to Weezer's song Island in the Sun. It had the Swedish girl band play perform Us Against the World
Oh,
in the kids like bar. Like, can we talk about that? There was a whole bar for kids,
yes. Right.
like a nightclub. And this also starred a young Megan Fox.
I was waiting for you to say that. I was like, isn't she in this movie?
Yes, and according to IMDb, this actually was her first ever role.
Oh, wow.
What an honor! Like your first role is Mary Kate and Ashley movie.
Oh, the dream, right?
Yeah, we should have known she was going far. So at this point, the twins are kind of going into that beachy phase we all went through in the early 2000s. like the beach waves, the puka shells, light colors. So, of course, we all followed their implements. They starred in the show So Little Time on ABC Family, where they aren't only rocking the beach look, but they live by the beach in this show. And the series follows them adjusting to a change within their family as their parents become separated. And the series only lasted for one season that was 26 episodes, but it was a moment. I remember watching this one.
I think I saw a few episodes of this. I don't think I was religiously watching it, but I do remember it definitely had a moment because I remember like the beachy vibes that they had going on around this time.
Yeah, it was cute. They made a few more movies that didn't get as much attention. The first one being Getting There, which was the girls' way of saying like we're 16 and can drive now. And it was about them taking a road trip with their friends and inevitably breaking down. It kind of reminded me of like Hillary Duff's Sweet 16 song. Same vibes. Uh, then they continued to the European travel thing with the movie When in Rome. And then they did a movie called The Challenge, where they go on a reality TV show called The Challenge. This movie was filmed in Mexico, and I'm not sure if this was The Challenge like the MTV show
Hmm.
or if it was a coincidence. I never saw this movie, and I cannot trace it down to save my life. Like I think I can pay like $80 for a DVD. That's my only option if I want to watch this movie. Like you cannot stream it anywhere.
Weird. I wonder like why they're lock and keying this one specifically.
I don't know. I A lot of their movies are lucky key. Okay. Anyway, back on track. 2004 was the year the girls really traded acting for fashion. They did one final movie, New York Minute, and this movie was a feature film that went to theaters, which was a first for them. The movie starred Eugene Levy and it had Jared Padalecki from Supernatural and Riley Smith from the DCOM Motocrossed. I know he's done other stuff, but that's what I know him from. So they were the love interest. It also had an appearance from the band Simple Plan, which was kind of random, but so was this whole movie, really. There was some controversy around this movie because there is a scene that was also featured in the trailer where Ashley's character is wearing nothing but a towel. Oh my god, the scandal. But it was really more of like an embarrassment for her character. I think her name was Jane in that movie, and she's like this very uptight type A girl. So it was like a humiliation for her. And I mean,
Right.
she's on a balcony outside of a hotel room and gets locked out of the room. So she's freaking out. It's not supposed to be sexual in any way. So 2004 wasn't the only year for their final, or 2004 wasn't only the year of their final movie together, but it was the start of their fashion career. They released their first ever fashion line at Walmart this year, and I wanted so bad just one piece of this collection, but no. And I still feel some type of way about that. Anyway, but it was super cute and successful, and they went on 2 years later to release their more luxury line called the Row, and attended school at New York University, better known as NYU, where they pursued fashion. And they now run their fashion line Elizabeth and Jane's, named after their siblings, the famous Elizabeth Olsen and their brother James, who goes by Trent, which I always wondered that. I was like, his name's not James. So when I
Hmm.
looked that up, I was like, okay, that makes more sense because I knew him as Trent. And I always knew Elizabeth as Lizzie as a
Hmm.
child, so it was weird when she started going by Elizabeth Olsen. But it makes sense, so like people don't see her as a nepo baby.
Yeah.
Um, but I didn't know this, but the twins actually have two other siblings. They're half siblings, but they're both younger. It's Courtney and Jake, and
Oh,
that is from their father's second marriage. So I learned something new doing this. Surprisingly, I thought I knew everything about them. But in
interesting.
conclusion, Mary Kate and Ashley worked their entire childhood literally from 9 months old to their early 20s in the entertainment industry before starting their adulthood out of the limelight and into fashion. They gave us their childhood so they could be our childhood. And for that, we love and respect their privacy. And also, a side note, according to Wikipedia, Mary Kate and Ashley made a deal with Viacom and signed over their entire DualStar library. So, Paramount Plus, hand it over.
Where is it? I'm
We
waiting.
need this. Yeah. We need this. Or even like if they wanted to do their own streaming service like DualStar, like I'll pay $5 a month where
I'll
I
do
don't
it.
care.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Also, because you're telling me that I can't watch that you're invited to Mary Kate and Ashley's sleepover. I can't watch that one right now. Why not? I'll watch it on YouTube. I'll do it.
Oh my god, the pizza.
Yes, that
Pizza.
P-I-Z-Z-A. Give me pizza. And then the scary one.
Yes. So she actually played Fee on So Weird, if you remember that show on Disney Channel.
Vaguely, but she scared the shit out of me when they did the whole scary thing. Unbelievably scary. I had nightmares, but I've got to tell you, I loved scaring myself, and I repetitively kept watching that one. Favorite.
Oh,
So good.
that is all I have. So I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm very excited. What do you have for us today?
What do I have for us today? Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. If that didn't give it away, which it should have, I'll be talking about the 2000 show The Hills. My sources today include Wikipedia, US Magazine, Cosmopolitan, Yahoo, Paramount Plus, and my brain for the endless hours that I've spent watching and rewatching this show. Which is why there's not very many sources, because I didn't need them. Honestly, I just spent a lot of time going back on Paramount Plus and clicking through to see the episodes and where they correlated to what season, because I just couldn't remember what seasons they were.
Yeah, we lived by that show. Like, I feel like we all tried to relate our lives to those shows.
Oh my God. Especially this one. But also, I will say, you know what I am mad about is I will say, like, shout out to Paramount Plus. They do have all the seasons, all the episodes, but they don't have the intros. So, like, it doesn't play the Natasha Bedingfield. Maybe they don't have rights to the song, but they don't have the intros. So you don't get to watch all the little compilations of the season before each episode.
That is a crime.
So I'm not going to bore you guys too much. I'll give some show basics and then we'll get into the good fun stuff. But for those who don't know, which you should, The Hills is an American reality TV series that was developed as a spinoff of Laguna Beach, and it aired for 6 seasons on MTV. It ran from May 31st, 2006 until July 13th, 2010, created by Adam DeVello, who we all know, and we have, I feel like, love-hate feelings about this guy. And I say that because I've heard some things about him, but he also is the same guy who produced and creates Selling Sunset. So everyone who likes the show Selling Sunset on Netflix, shout out to Adam DeVello. The Hills follows the personal and professional lives of a group of young adults living in Los Angeles. The series primarily focuses on Lauren Conrad, who initially gained popularity on Laguna Beach. Lauren moves to Los Angeles to pursue a career in the fashion industry. Over the course of the show, viewers witness her friendships, romantic relationships, and career aspirations. The cast also includes other notable characters such as Heidi Montag, Whitney Port, Lo Bosworth, and Audrina Patridge. After Lauren leaves the show in its 5th season, Kristen Cavalieri joins as the main cast member, and the show concludes with its 6th season. So that was the show details. And then obviously there were some spin-offs and rewatches, so I kind of wanted to touch on those, and then we'll get into the good stuff, the real stuff, what you guys are here for. So as we know, The Hills was a fairly successful show, and because of it, it had the several spin-offs. One of them starting off strong with The City. So The City was a reality television series that followed Whitney Port, a young fashion enthusiast, as she moved from Los Angeles to New York City to pursue a career in the fashion industry. The show documents Whitney's professional journey working at Diane von Furstenberg, a prestigious fashion house, while also exploring her personal life, friendships, and romantic relationships in a fast and competitive environment of New York City. With the elements of fashion, drama, and relationships, the city provided a glimpse into Whitney's life as she navigates challenges of building a career and relationships in the bustling metropolis. The show ran from December 29th, 2008 until July 13th, 2010. So it actually ran until the ending date of The Hills, which I thought was interesting. I will say, like, I'll call myself out here. I only dabbled slightly in this show when it was airing originally. I never kind of really went back. Whitney was a side character and she was good, don't get me wrong, but I just wasn't super interested in what she wanted to do going further. I don't felt like I personally didn't feel like
Yeah.
she stood so well alone.
Yeah, it was weird because, yeah, you said she's a supporting character. I feel she's good at that.
Hmm.
And then they just try to make her the main girl, and then the whole beef with Olivia just didn't make sense to me.
Well, you could tell things were forced, and I think with Whitney too, right? She didn't necessarily want to play the reality TV game, and she's talked about this. I feel like in other like interviews and rewatches and stuff, she wasn't trying to get into the drama. So I think that's probably why it flopped. Is like she necessarily didn't want to play the game.
Yeah.
So, which is fine, but yeah. So I don't know. I may end up going back and doing a little rewatch, and maybe I'll do like a little side bonus episode for it, but yeah, I would have to go and spend time to watch. I think it's like 1 or 2 seasons. And then our next spinoff we have is The Hills: New Beginning. Woo.
Oh, goodness.
um, it is a reality television series and a sequel to the original. It premiered in 2019. It reunited several original cast members and introduced new faces as they navigate their lives in Los Angeles. The series explores challenges and successes of the cast in their careers, relationships, and friendships. Viewers witness the personal and professional journeys of the cast, including the dynamics of longstanding relationships and introducing fresh faces to the group. And I will say that I always thought it was weird when they did the New Beginnings and they brought Misha Barton in. I don't see where she made sense.
Yeah, it was like a it was like, oh, you were the OC, so we're gonna put you on this. But
Yeah,
uh, I just didn't understand that show at all. You're adding new characters like Misha, Brandon Lee. Yeah, like honestly, the only ones I care to like see in a show would be like Brody and Spencer and Heidi. Like
yeah,
let's let's just revamp Princes of Malibu then,
low key. But I'm
because everyone else
also,
is boring.
yeah, Audrina is not interesting to me. I've got to say, even
Mm-mm.
Heidi is not. I mean, Heidi has the
Yeah.
stage presence, but she's not that interesting. But she's attached to Spencer. We get it.
Yes.
Um, I think Spencer's itching to kind of have a break from Heidi. I feel like him and Brody in something would be interesting without Heidi.
Yeah. Or even because Brody's now with Tia,
Hmm.
and I'm a fan of her. Like I followed her surfing before they got together. I would even see like the two guys and then like their wives say they didn't bring back the characters we care about.
Yeah. Well, because even didn't Whitney come back briefly for season one, and then she like didn't come back after that, right? I know she wasn't on season two, if I remember.
Yeah, she was. I think she was on season one, not season two. But again, we don't really care for her. Like she's not bringing much to
Yeah,
the story.
yeah. We know what we wanted. We wanted Elsie to come back, but we knew it was never going to happen.
Yeah, either or Kristen, but Kristen was signed to E at the time.
Yeah, and we got a good amount out of Kristen, I think, from her show, which I watched the first 2 seasons and I kind of dropped off halfway through her third season because it started getting a little bit like her friend was just kind of an ass. Did you watch?
Kelly,
Was it Kelly?
the one that was
Yeah,
spreading rumors.
yeah. And then she was like trying to be friends with like Jay and then like his friends and stuff too. It was like it got real messy.
Yeah, yeah. I will say, sorry, going off topic here, but I love watching Kristen these days, like especially as a mom. Like, I feel like she was the first person to like hide her kid's face on social media. I want to say she started that trend. Like she's always
Yeah.
just been a really good mom.
No, I agree with that 100%. I think it's fun to watch her arc, and I think that's why it's fun to go back, because watching her, like, she really, like, she was never really like bad, you know, she was just very vocal
Hmm.
and opinionated, and she stood up for herself, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
I think she still does that, and I think she's just
Hmm.
translated it to a much more mature version of herself, where like she stands up for her kids, and like you said, she's not showing their faces. She's saying, you know what, this is something that I think is wrong, and she's standing firm on it. Like nobody's swayed her in all the years to like to do it. So
Yeah.
it's, I think it's funny how our persona of her was like mean girl bitch, and now we're like, oh, we love her.
Well, see, I was originally Team Kristen the first
Oh.
time I watched Laguna Beach. Yeah, it was because you remember Hollister had those shirts, Team Kristen, Team LC.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always Team Kristen. But then once The Hills came out, it kind of painted LC as the protagonist. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah, Kristen didn't need to be that mean. And then watching it as an adult, I'm like, I'm kind of Team Kristen still. And
Fully.
then yeah, it's like that was her boyfriend. And if you listen to her podcast with Steven, you know a little bit, and it's just you just laugh at the whole situation now. But
It's
I've
pretty comical,
always
yeah.
liked her.
Yeah, I think I was very, I don't know, I think I like to be like torture soul girl, so I was very like into the LC thing, where I was like, she should be able to be with Steven if she wants to be, and Kristen's
Yeah.
just in the way. So notable rewatches. I say notable lightly because one of them is, the other one isn't. So we've got Whitney and Timmy's rewatch series on YouTube. I will say this is something that if you haven't seen the series, I say go watch it first without the commentary. It's a lot of stop and start. It's a lot of details to like behind the scenes, which if you don't know what's going on, it's going to throw you off because you're going to keep getting stopped. But if you've seen it a bunch like Kylie and I, it's really insightful and it's fun because Timmy's witty.
Yeah, the thing is, Amber and I we can recite these episodes line by line.
Mhm.
And so getting something different and new and like people saying what you're thinking or bringing a new perspective, it's very entertaining.
I don't know why, but it's even funnier from like the male perspective too. I think it's fun to see like what the men think of like the perspective of what was going on too. And even though he has that like producing side to it too, it's funny that he's like poking at like what the girls are doing. Of the rewatch series that I would say is probably going to not be so fun. And I said, well, rewatch series, it's a podcast. There was, I think it was called like The Hills Rewatch. I don't know, but it was Audrina, Brody, and Frankie.
It's called Was It Real?
Ah, thank you. I didn't even care to go look it up because I didn't like it. But it
I
was just,
listened to it here and there, and
yeah.
then they just abruptly canceled it.
I think because they were getting a lot of backlash, because I was on Reddit and I'm pretty sure they're pretty heavy on Reddit too, and people were talking the crap out of their podcast. Like,
Yeah, and then I know Heidi joined, and then she left, and then that's when it kind of abruptly stopped. So I don't know if that had
yeah,
to do with it too.
if you notice, Audrina, Brody, Frankie, none of those people were main characters on the show. Not one of them.
Frankie did most of the talking, which was very bizarre to me.
And he didn't even come on the show until what, three or four? Season three or
Yeah,
four?
and
Yeah.
he was a side character.
So side character.
So for like he would like Brody and Spencer are side characters already,
Hmm.
and then he's like the friend of the friend.
That's when
So
we're like going like universes out. We're not going in, we're going
yeah,
out. Let's get to the good stuff. So I want to break down like each season and kind of talk about some of the like highlighter points of each season, or like things that kind of happened. Starting with season one, obviously, we have Lauren getting hired at Teen Vogue. And I think my favorite part about this is when it's her and Whitney and they're getting like restyled almost immediately when they first come in the door.
yeah, and Whitney's told she's too matchy matchy.
Yeah.
I think that this is why I liked the show though, was like watching them intern at Teen Vogue. It was like kind of inspiring to like get our careers going.
No, totally. I think I kind of agree because I think we were at a very, like you said, pivotal point in our life where we were figuring out kind of what we wanted to do next. And so to see they were kind of pursuing what, because we had been following Lauren, especially for a while. So we kind
Yeah.
of saw her stepping into what she was really passionate about. But have no fear because we've got Heidi here to come and crash the party. So Literally, not figuratively.
I don't know. The way
Um,
you said that was amazing, though. Like, have no fear, Heidi's here. I don't know. The way you said it was great. I felt like that could be in like a this week on the hills.
yeah, but Heidi comes in, and Heidi is Lauren's roommate at the time, and they're besties. And she pretty much comes in and she's like, I'm going to crash the Young Hollywood party. And not only does she crash the party, but she comes in with her boyfriend and his friend, pretty belligerent at this point, and they're just like arguing with each other very loudly in the quote unquote restricted area where they're not supposed to be sitting. Like it wasn't restricted for MTV. The main focal point of this season, of because we centered around Lauren, was Jason and Lauren getting back together. His fake drama, where he fakes the drama with the guy that like calls her on New Year's Eve and basically starts all this crap with her, just so we could have a dramatic New Year's kiss. And I think my
Yeah.
favorite iconic part about it is when he's sitting in the limo just chain smoking with his top hat.
For real, it's so disgusting. There's one point he's got two
Yes.
cigarettes and one in each hand at one point. It's
Yeah,
like,
and
how
he's holding
drunk
a
are
drink
you?
too.
Like, I watch a lot of Laguna Beach more than the hills.
Okay.
And just sometimes I catch things and I'm like, oh my gosh, these children are so wasted. I never knew that. I thought they were just fighting, but they're drunk.
I know. I think because we were so innocent minded still, which is crazy to think about though, right? Because even at 16, low key, I was definitely drinking a little bit. I was going and getting
Yeah.
drunk in the fields, but like it wasn't registering to me that they weren't of age being in the club getting wasted. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
receiving to me for some reason. And then infamously, he gets Lauren Chanel for her birthday. I mean, for Christmas, sorry, for Christmas, not her birthday. But also, shout out, Jordan got Heidi a dog for Christmas. And that dog was never seen or heard from again after they broke up. Shout out to Bella. Hope you had a good
Bella.
life.
So on the podcast we've been hating on, Jordan and Brian came on. I think Jordan came on
Oh,
twice, and then Jordan and Brian came back together. But he
I
addresses
stopped
that, and
listening. Okay.
I think I must have just dabbled and picked and chose what I listened to because I don't think I listened to the whole thing. But they rehomed Bella after they broke up, so
I
she went to
mean,
a nice family that would provide her. Obviously, like they were like 18, 19 years old, and she was always partying. Like literally, her job was to party.
yeah, I it was a bad idea for her to have a dog in general.
Hmm.
I had friends in college who basically, I mean, they did take care of their dogs, don't get me wrong, but they were friends of friends who would get dogs and they would party and you could tell they weren't taking care of their animals and it's like, why do you even
Mm.
why? And then of course, iconic Lauren being offered the Paris internship and having to choose between going to Paris for the summer or spending a romantic summer by the beach with Jason. Spoiler alert, she turns down the internship.
She's the girl that didn't go to Paris.
Yes. And rounding up to season 2, that was literally the first thing. So the iconic,
Sorry.
no, don't even be sorry because it's so worth it. I'll say it again. I don't even care. She will always be known as the girl that didn't go to Paris. And it's, of course, iconic, savage. And I love how she literally just like is like, yeah, you're the girl that didn't go to Paris. How, of course, then we're introduced to Brody Jenner in season 2.
Brody.
Oh, Brody. And of course, Spencer, because they're a package deal, I feel. And Heidi and Audrina are introduced both to be dating Spencer at the same time at the beginning of the season.
This is so wild. It never made sense to me.
No, I was like, I just couldn't see how Spencer would have ever been Audrina's type because you could tell that he was not she wasn't into the pretty boy.
No, no, no. She's into those rugged looking boys with two names.
I wonder who she's talking about.
But yeah, that and then she just I feel like with her facial expressions and what she would say, it never came off that she was into him.
No, she every time she would talk to him, it seemed like she was like, you know, like when you have a friend and they're a guy and you just want to consistently like insult them, but you're like, I like you, but I'm just gonna keep giving jabs at you. Like that's how it felt like she was talking to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like they wanted her to be in that storyline and she refused.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, we're going to do whatever we can to make this storyline work, even if you're going to refuse to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember? I remember when she walked out of the club after they kind of berated her for walking in with Spencer. And unrelated, but she had two phones to her ear. I think one of them was a producer she was talking to, and then one was her friends.
Oh, wow. I probably caught that when I was younger and was like, oh, fabulous, or whatever. I'll have
No,
to
yeah, no. Back
rewatch
then, I was like,
that.
oh my god, yeah. It's. I think that's like the first or second episode of season two. Whatever the one where she goes out, they go out. They're going to the club that Heidi works at, which is obvious that they're going there for drums because why would you be going out with Audrina if you're not going to have Heidi see it? So,
Exactly.
um, of course, like we're getting the beginning of Heidi and Spencer's relationship, circa Heidi's pregnancy scare, aka the fake pregnancy scare.
Yeah.
I hate debunking all this stuff because it sucks that it was so fake, but I mean, that's the reality,
It only makes sense.
right? And then, of course, season two. I thought this was later, but season two introduced us to super intern Emily. Yes. And she was basically just set up to make Lauren and Whitney look like they're super lazy because she was from NYC. She took 18 credits and she worked at Chanel and Teen Vogue. Oh, and she knows all the flowers. It was a fun little like antagonist to have for Whitney and Lauren because there wasn't really anyone throwing any kind of wrenches into their work plans that like kind of stuck. Back to Spencer, we've got our first drama night when he brings the playmates out. And we get our iconic line of, I had to pick up the phone like I had to pick up my best friend and carry her home.
Lauren with the iconic lines.
They were so good. And then, keeping on with the theme of Spencer, he doesn't do much better after this. And of course, we get our favorite line. Do you want to do the honors?
Oh, if you'll let me, yes.
Oh, I will honor you.
He's a sucky person. Lauren,
Lauren.
I hate Spencer. I'm never gonna like Spencer. He did a really messed up thing last night. And scene.
Literally. And this was after Spencer and Heidi pushed Jen Bunny together with Brody and they basically made out and she finds out about all of it. As we know, very iconic. And this was the turning point of basically I mean, we had already kind of seen a few episodes before this that Spencer was probably not Lauren's favorite person. I think she even pointed out to her, like I think they gone to breakfast prior to this where she told her that she was unsure about Spencer.
I think so.
Okay. So yeah, so we already know like she's not like Spencer's biggest fan. And then he obviously does this and it's like, okay, we're done. Plus, around this time, obviously, he's doing some other stuff too. Okay, and then rolling into season three with You Know What You Did! You know what you did! What'd I do? I didn't do anything.
uh,
Lauren
man.
screaming at Heidi at Ledoux when she was bombarded by them, actually, because she was just living her best life in the club. And I remember they beeline for her. Oh, you better go run up on her on the club, Spencer said.
Yeah.
Um, and this was because at the time, Lauren had been accusing them of the potential, which we know to be true, that they had leaked the rumor that she and Jason had made a sex tape.
Did they leak it though? Because I never saw any tabloids of this. Like, was it a storyline?
So it's funny you say that too because I never saw anything about this either, and I'm wondering if like the main tabloids didn't want to pick something like this up, and like Perez Hilton was the one that they went to. I didn't read any Perez Hilton stuff, so I don't know.
Oh.
And then of course we get introduced season three to the infamous JB Justin Bobby. This is when Lauren and Lo, because we get Lo this season, Lo gives him the infamous name Justin Bobby. And, and my favorite is the interaction when they're explaining like, oh, so we heard like your friends call you Justin, some call you Bobby. What do you want to be called? The infamous, so you don't want us to call you Justin Bobby. And then Lo starts laughing, and then he goes, you can call me whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, they just had beef from the get go.
Yeah. Well, so according to what I don't know, according to Audrina and other people, He did not want to be on the show, like at all.
Then why be on the show? 'Cause, yeah, I know he was like a celebrity hairstylist, which
Yeah,
I never knew that until like last
me
year when she
neither.
said that. I was like, whoa, why didn't they like put that out there? Because and then like in the New Beginnings, it makes it out like he was like a little gangster or whatever before
Yeah. I
they
don't
like
know.
revisit this old home.
That's so crazy. Yeah, they could have given some depth to JB. And not that, I mean, again, I know he was in his 20s, but again, it would have been kind of like interesting.
Hmm.
I don't know. We do nothing, I guess. It's weird, right? Looking back, we knew nothing about Justin Bobby and we were fine with not knowing anything, but we were concerned about everybody else.
A man so great he needed two names.
Keeping on track with Justin Bobby is when we get the dinner scene with him, Elsie, and Audrina when he burps in her face.
It's so cringy.
It's bad. It's
And then she's
excuse
like,
you.
yeah, excuse you, mister. She's like super embarrassed.
I know, right? And then at the end where she's like, "Kay, be nice, drive safe with my friend," and he like just jets off with her like
Yeah.
so good. And then just to round out again with Justin Bobby, homeboy wore combat boots to the beach. I know you don't want to call that your boyfriend.
Was that the same season?
It was. And it was like 3 episodes
Oh,
after. It was literally, so I thought it was at
oh
the end.
wow.
It was literally like
Yeah.
meet Justin Bobby, go to dinner with Justin Bobby, 2 more episodes happen, and then Justin Bobby leaves her at the beach.
Oh wow. That's crazy. I thought that was like well into the next season.
Me too. So, and this is when Jen Bunny this season she drops the bomb on Elsie that Brody was actually supposedly the person who started the rumors about her and Jason, not Heidi and Spencer, which is convenient because why is Jen Bunny saying this? Huh? She's conveniently friends with Heidi now because Heidi doesn't have anybody on the cast to be friends with. And then Lauren and Whitney get to go to New York this season to present their Young Hollywood Party ideas to they go see the god Amy Astley because she runs New York City apparently. And what was interesting was this is when Lauren goes to Marc Jacobs and she meets Marc Jacobs for the first time. And I noticed that when she was there, like she meets Marc Jacobs, but she doesn't stand up when he introduces himself. And I thought it was just me, but I thought it was kind of a slight. Like I thought like you're supposed to stand up when you get introduced to somebody,
Yeah.
and a lot of people were like offended by this like on Reddit and stuff when I go back. Have
I've
you heard?
seen that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember as a teenager being like, what are you doing?
Stand up.
Yeah.
But I've read somewhere too that apparently it was like she was constricted, like her legs were stuck up under the desk or wherever she was. So like if she would have got up, it would have been a whole like pinwheel type style thing.
Yeah.
Of course, also this season, Lauren Whitney finally get to go to Paris, as we've been talking about. Oh, what is my favorite line? Oh yeah, when she's like, "Are you gonna shower?" No, dirty girl. I don't know why, but I always remember that. And I think it's because people are always saying like people are like the girls and everyone like they don't shower, they're dirty. Oh,
Yeah.
Brody said that. And so and then Stephanie Pratt, who has already been introduced this season prior, now becomes friends with Lauren because they are in classes together at FITM, aka the Fashion Design and Merchandise. Wait, Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. I should know how to say that. And I say that she was introduced prior because there was an episode where they were all at the opera and her and Roxy come and scream at, was it Lauren and Lo or was it Lauren and Audrina? I can never remember, but definitely Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren. Lauren was the target.
Yeah, when you hate them, it makes me hate you. Yeah, all that.
Something like that, yeah.
And then to round out season 3, we get the infamous black mascara tier from Lauren. So at this time, Lo, Lauren, and Audrina have gotten a house together, and tension between Lo and Audrina is at an all-time high because they're basically vying for Lauren's attention. Lo's obviously getting it. And I will say, I always felt like Lo was definitely slighting Audrina.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like she was like, well, that's my friend first, like from Laguna. Lo has low underlying bitchiness to her.
Oh, totally.
Um, I wanted to like her because there were things to like about her, but ultimately, I feel like if she's under impressed with you, like she'll just toss you. Like she don't if you're not giving something to
Yeah.
her. So
If you're not in her core little family, she's not very accepting.
yeah,
But she gives funny one-liners.
yeah. So it's like you can stick around, but also watch yourself.
Yeah. I always liked her up until this episode
Hmm.
because I was like, oh, like I'm not a big Audrina person, but that was kind of harsh.
Yeah, like the whole sushi thing, like when they went to go to the recording studio and then they like leave immediately.
Yeah.
That was kind of screwed up. Um,
And she did do that in Laguna Beach too when they went to Trey's like
yeah,
charity thing. She's
I
like, I
remember.
want to leave. Yeah.
I don't want to be here. This is boring. And it's like, come on, girl.
Yeah.
She definitely gives entitled rich girl vibes. And it's like, we get it. We know you're from Laguna Beach, but you like people don't like that.
Yeah.
Um, Not that she cared. But yeah, of course, at the height of season 4, basically, Lo and Audrina kind of hit ahead with their relationship, and ultimately they decide they're never going to be friends. Audrina gives us her like we'll never be friends. Um,
Yeah.
dot 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 until season 5 when Lauren leaves and they need to be friends.
Yeah.
um, we get Doug this season.
Doug. Oh my god, I forgot about Doug.
We get Doug. And for those who don't know, Lauren and Doug went to prom together in Laguna, so that's kind of where he comes back around.
You know whose brother he is?
Mm-mm.
Casey from Laguna Beach.
Really?
Yeah, that's how they knew
Hmm.
each other.
Okay, that makes sense then. Lauren has a type. She likes to date her exes.
I was like, what are you talking about a type? And then you said that. That's definitely going to be a reel.
Oh no, I do like Lauren, but I will say, like, I feel like we were afraid to kind of call Lauren out back in the day because, like, she was
Yeah.
the golden, it girl.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to call her out. I like Lauren, but you were slightly problematic too, and I'm gonna call you out. Also, you like to date your exes. I don't feel like that problematic. Um, Keeping on with Doug, we also get Stephanie who tries to slide in and date Doug, thinking that Lauren's not going to know or care.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's funny how basically the reason that they get outed is because they go to a restaurant that Brody's mom is at. And Brody's mom tells Brody, which obviously this is all meant to be, it's all produced, but we didn't know that. I thought it was always interesting though when Lauren found out, but then when they're at, was it Doug's house that they were at when they were having that little pool party and she's like crying in that bedroom, or was that Brody's house?
I thought that was Brody's house and they invited Doug. And then Brody was like grilling him like he was like a brother to Lauren, even though they definitely were, well, in the show they were banging.
Yeah. I mean, because I remember Lauren was not that pressed about it. She was like, "You didn't tell me you guys had coffee too." She's like, "It was so stupid." And like, she doesn't care. I just thought it was weird because she went so hard for Jen Bunny about the Brody thing, but then
Mm-hmm.
when the Doug thing came up, she like didn't really do anything about it.
I wonder if she was starting to get over it at this point and was doing bare minimum because she wanted to leave the show. And there was talks of her getting a third show, but then MTV opted for 16 and pregnant.
Yep.
So I wonder if she was over these people and it was supposed to follow her career. I think she just wanted TV to follow her career, not this drama, but MTV's not going to give her
Yeah.
that.
Well, yeah. No, so that was the reason. So they actually, because when I was looking stuff up, there was she was supposed to get a spin-off show that was just to follow Lauren, but the reason that it didn't go is because they also wanted to follow her personal life, and she said absolutely not, and they said no, we need both, otherwise we're not going to do it. Like they wanted career and personal life, and she said no,
Yeah.
which I get because she had been doing it for so long at this point, but
Honestly, I would have watched that because that's what I enjoyed was the Teen Vogue aspect of this.
I did too. I liked it, but I feel like I would have wanted, because they would have teased like her personal life, and I would have wanted it. Now her kids, I get,
Yeah,
like, or anything like that, you don't have to show me, but like give me like some friendship stuff or something, you know?
yeah, they could have done it like Kristen did with Very Cavallari, where it's just like we're talking in the kitchen, and this is obviously
Yeah.
scripted, but it's a filler for a scene.
Yeah, and her kids were clearly in the house, but they were never filmed. So this is when Lauren and Whitney start working together again in season 4 at People's Revolution. Oh my God, Kelly Catrone.
Kelly Catrone.
And we get some good stuff from her. She was honestly good television. She was funny. She wasn't meant to be funny, but she was funny to me.
I did not like her. And like
No?
when I watched the rewatch with Timmy and Whitney, like when he's always making comments, I'm like, yes, Timmy, I agree.
But that's what I'm saying, is like I feel like Kelly's go which I want to watch her spinoff, which I actually forgot to put on here. She had a show
She
too. Was
has a spinoff?
She had a show, was called like Catrone, something Catrone. It only
Uh,
went on for like a season.
Not surprised. I don't know. I wasn't big on her.
I I I don't know. Something about her was interesting to me. I guess it was her like boss ass bitch attitude. I was like, yeah, maybe you are a little bit bitchy, but
It
I don't know.
it was just too extreme for me. The only time I felt it was appropriate was when she was interviewing Stephanie.
Oh my god, that was the best part.
She's like, you didn't even bring a resume for your interview?
When she starts speaking French to her and she's like, do you speak French? Wrapping up season 4 with the last two. So we've got Audrina accusing Lauren of hooking up with JB, and another iconic line from Lauren: Audrina, I would rather kill myself than hook up with him. He is disgusting. Justin is disgusting.
That one, I that was
So
totally
good.
a storyline produced.
I didn't believe this for a second. Because of that,
Yeah.
before she even said that, I knew there was no way.
And there's no way that
Uh,
Adrena
no.
would believe that.
No, she legitimately did, though, because supposedly the story was that somebody who was one of her friends, who was like somebody that was so trustworthy and like would never lie about this stuff, was like vehemently like convinced that they had hooked up and was convincing Audrina of it.
Yeah, some guy named Dino.
Yep, him. And then our season round out is Heidi and Spencer getting wasted and getting married in Mexico. The whole
The
Mexico trip
Patron.
makes me
It was like
crazy.
I felt like it was a Patron commercial. They said
It,
Patron so many times.
low key, what if Patron sponsored them going to Mexico?
I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, we
Yeah.
see it so openly nowadays of
Mm-hmm.
the product placement, but if you go back and watch it, it just went right over our heads, but it was there.
Yeah. I mean, that was a really cringy. I think it was 2 episodes of Mexico of them, right? I don't know, but it was cringy, the whole thing. And then our big drams was Audrina is now no longer with JB anymore. She's with Brody, or she wants to be with Brody. She's always had a little crush. And she sleeps in Brody's room one night when they're all on a like trip to Hawaii, and they both deny that they hooked up, but I mean, I kind of feel like they
Yeah.
did. Um, what do you think? Do you remember this?
I remember. I think it was just scripted.
You
I
think
don't
so?
think she actually slept in his room.
Oh, okay, that's a more
Because they
interesting
didn't
take.
show it, did they?
No.
Yeah, as we were getting at this point in the show, it was becoming more and more obvious that it was scripted, and I think that's why at the end they ended it the way they did.
Yep. And then we get like everything leading up to the wedding, basically, which is kind of the turning point of season 5's halfway point. We get Spencer meeting Heidi's real, like, biological dad, who's somewhat of a cowboy, asking for his permission for Heidi's hand. And then we also get we get his apology to Lauren, which, watching this back, I'm pretty convinced, because they were pretty good at doing this. I'm pretty convinced he was not talking to anybody. Like, he just had the phone up to his ear and he was being like filmed saying what he was saying. And
Oh
I think the
yeah.
same thing that Lauren, because I don't think they ever, like, there was no actual like phone call. Like, not that they would have been on the phone together, but not even like a voicemail.
I think Timmy said that too. Like that was most likely what happened. Like on Timmy and Whitney's
Hmm.
rewatch.
And then we get the whole will she, won't she? Will Lauren show up to the wedding? Is she going to come? Everyone's asking her. She doesn't want to go. Another spoiler, she shows up. And like we were talking about earlier, this is the pivotal point where we've got Kristen coming into, and it's the turning point of where we're seeing that our main character is going to change. And it's very subtle. They're both wearing blue. Everyone else is wearing very neutral colors. So it's very apparent that something about this dynamic is about to change.
And it's the exact same hue of blue, like a
Mm-hmm.
royal blue.
Yeah, it was no question that this was on purpose.
Yeah.
Uh, so we get the wedding and the immediate exit of Lauren
And
and
this
our.
one was so weird. Like I felt like this put this little fairy tale in girls' heads. Like, oh, even if me and my old best friend like had a falling out, like she's gonna be at my wedding because I had this happen to me and I had it happen to another friend of mine.
Mhm.
Where it was like there was a group of four of us and it was three guys and a girl. So the guy wasn't really involved in this stuff, but there was drama between the two other girls and by proxy I got dragged and pushed onto one side even though I was like I'm out of it, but okay, if you're gonna block me then I guess I'm on her side. um, and then but they had like known each other since they were like 3 years old,
Ugh.
and then one got married and like the week before her wedding he's like will you please be there, blah blah blah, and she's like no. And then I had that happen with me with a friend of like a best friend of like 10 years. She was getting married and asked me to be her maid of honor. Then, like, because I wasn't paying like thousands of dollars, like, she was asking me to step down, and I was like, cool, I'm just gonna step out of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
then, like, she had the new maid of honor reach out to me to ask to go to her bachelorette party in Vegas, and I'm like, I'm not responding to this. And then she reached out to me later, like trying to make amends. And I'm like, cool, but I'm not, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, she's tried to reach out a couple times. And then it comes out that she's got ulterior motives. But we won't get into all that. But like, it's just like, I feel like everyone watched this and then they just think, like, oh, it worked for Heidi. Maybe it can work for us.
No, but like, yeah, I to your point, it definitely set a standard of people thinking that essentially, if even if you don't talk for years, like a best friend is still going to be a best friend, and that's not necessarily the case. People move on,
Mm-mm.
they grow into different parts of their lives, and that person isn't going to be the same person that they were at that point in their life when you come back to them at a different point in their life, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it just doesn't work out this like that. So especially to like Lauren's point, that's what she said too. Like she was like, "You're not, you're not the same person anymore." But like, I hope you're happy. And that's what, like, what else can you say to somebody who you don't know anymore?
Yeah.
So, so that was the passing of the torch of Lauren to Kristen, which again I still always thought was weird because again, being foes on the other show, I felt it was odd. But I think Lauren was, like you said,
Well, that's
over
the
the
same thing
show.
that happened on Laguna Beach too.
Yeah.
Lauren like passed it on because she graduated, and then Kristen was the new protagonist. It was
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah, but I feel like that one made more sense because she was going away.
Yeah,
The turning point of Kristen. Basically, she comes in and just starts stirring up drama. And it's funny because the cast members at this point are used to Lauren, who is, she'll stick up for herself, but she's no Kristen. Kristen's going to
hmm
come in guns blazing. And so, Justin Bobby's kind of, privy to Kristen, and Adriana obviously doesn't like this. And so she's kind of starting drama and stating her opinion, not knowing who she's working with here. And basically, Kristen's like, okay, bitch, like, I'm here. Let's roll. I thought I wasn't, because again, I had, from what I've done in the past, I've really watched mainly just the seasons with Lauren, and then I'll go back to the Kristen ones later because I don't love them as much. But watching them now older, they're kind of more fun. I know they're super scripted and I know like obviously none of it's real, but it's kind of, I don't know. I like Kristen just seems like a more real down to earth girl. Lauren was more
Hmm.
unobtainable. It was an aspired person, whereas Kristen's somebody you can
Yes.
relate to.
Yeah. Like you'd want to be friends with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. At this point I had just been so over this show. It's like, okay, it's all drama now. There's
Mm-hmm.
no professional life. And I
You're
think that's
right.
what took it out for me because I really loved watching them I loved the fashion aspect of it.
Yeah. The fashion shows, just being behind the scenes Teen Vogue, there was something about it that was exciting because to us it was a behind the scenes like look into that like career style, whereas like we get dramas from any show, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I think that's why I was over it, but I'll have to go look back at it.
but you're definitely right about that. There's definitely no career stuff that's really associated with it. Um, it's very much just like hardcore clubbing, and it's actually a lot more beach scenes. They spent a lot more time at the beach in the last
Yeah.
seasons, which is funny and
Yep.
ironic. Um, and then another kind of darker turning point in season 5 was something that I actually forgot that happened. But Stephanie and Heidi kind of start accusing Holly of having a drinking problem and like tell her she should potentially seek some help. Which watching the show, it's like it's crazy because there was an art gallery scene where it was a art gallery. They were all just standing, looking at art, drinking champagne, and she's like dancing and being all crazy in the middle of an art gallery. It's actually pretty sad. It's like,
Yeah. I think that show really messed up Heidi's family because if you think about the where she does her reveal and her mother's like, you don't even look like you.
oh, yep,
I think this had to have done a number on her family.
100%. And it's so funny because that was the next thing, too. You're so right on track with me, and I love it. I love it. You're keeping me flowing because no, it is the next major thing, too. It really, like, I think after, like, towards this point, yeah, we're starting to see the impact of, like, Heidi and Spencer's relationship, not only on, like, how it's, like, they're not really a part of the cast anymore so much, but how, like you said, it's really affecting her family, her mom and her relationship. Like, it's no more. Her and Holly are really like Holly's struggling with substance abuse clearly at this point. It's really sad, honestly. And I
Hmm.
think that's another reason why it's hard to watch these last seasons is like they're scrounging for drama, but some of the drama gets too real and it's not fun to watch. It was hard to watch that first episode of season 6 when they revealed Heidi's face. And Eric was watching it with me and he was like, whoa. He lists off everything that she had
Hmm.
gotten done. And I forgot how many surgeries. But I told Eric, I was like, she got like 10 plus surgeries at once and she almost died. It was really scary.
Just to think like she was so pretty and she had like this slim delicate figure and everyone's wanting a butt and boobs and it's like there's a charm to being flat chested and being tiny. Like
Mm-hmm.
how many tops can you wear that a busty girl can't and you can get
For
away with
real.
it? Like I don't know, I just think there's a plus to not having curves as well. Like it just made me sad that she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to embrace somebody she wasn't when she was so beautiful as she was.
It really makes me sad. And I think the reason why I can't watch it is just the jarring difference because all like watching because I brought Eric back to like season 2 right after that because it was getting too dramatic and I'm like, see, this is what Heidi he's like, how much work has she had done at this point? I said nothing. She dyed her hair a little bit blonder and he goes, whoa. I go, yeah. Does
Yeah.
she look the same? She doesn't even look like the same person.
Yeah, I think in season 2 or maybe it was season 3 she'd gotten a nose job and her boobs done once. But it was very
Okay.
subtle. It was
Yeah, that
nothing
might have
like
been. So
I think that scene was very real.
very.
And it breaks my heart that they had that vulnerable moment documented and put on national television
Yeah.
because you could see her mom was broken.
Yeah, it was too much, honestly. It was so much that even at the end her stepdad had to kind of step in and like because she wouldn't talk to her mom and like he was like we love you and you know whatever you want to do it's okay. He's like and call your mom occasionally or something. Like
Yeah.
it's very sad. but I don't know what the status of their like relationship is. I think it's gotten better over the years. I
Yeah.
hope,
I
but
think her being on that show brought a lot of challenges.
well, a lot between her and her mom too, because her mom apparently would go and like try to film with her behind her back and like try to get her into scenes and stuff. So it affected them all. I think the fame kind
Yeah.
of got to all their heads in different ways. So that's really sad. Um, I don't want to go too far into season 6 more because it's just really a dark season, honestly, and then just really fake too. Um, I will say that this is the season that we get Spencer holding the crystal. And I just want to, for anyone who is watching on YouTube, and so while he looks all very docile and calm here, he's putting the crystal to his head. He is actually doing this while screaming at Charlie, of all people, because Charlie's telling him that he's acting crazy. Charlie, douchebag Charlie, who funded and, gave all of his bad decisions to him, is telling him he's being crazy. Make it make sense.
Yeah, but gosh, I was telling Amber this earlier. Like, literally this week, I was in a meeting, and luckily my camera's off because I just had to grab my amethyst and throw it to my third eye, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm Spencer right now." Like, I understand Spencer.
And didn't you say this is? I want to put this as a screensaver now. Like, I want to put this somewhere.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Like a reminder, like
Yeah,
cleanse your chakras.
I love it. But this was crazy Spencer season, like for real. I don't know why he was like. We saw that he was subtly angry throughout the first 5 seasons, but he like full on just starts shouting at everybody.
I mean, as a girl who's discovered crystal healing, he probably was going through something at that time if he's,
Yeah,
turning to that spiritual journey. He was probably going through some things, and I feel like that show probably made everybody a little crazy.
that's a good point. Yeah, no, I mean, because I just remember, so like they were at a barbecue, and like Stephanie comes up and kind of starts crying, and like Stephanie, yeah, she cries about everything, but
You're
like
making yourself cry.
literally, and then he says, "This is why you're not in my life, you crazy bitch, because you come to barbecues and just start crying." What?
He was so mean to her the
What?
entire time. Like, even in season 4 or whatever, 3, whatever she came in, like, he was so mean to her.
You're right. This is not the first time. You're right, because the making yourself cry is in her apartment when he comes to yell at her. Oh
Yeah.
no, he's in his
No, he's
apartment. Either way,
living
one of
with
the
her.
apartments.
No, he is living off of her in her apartment, sleeping on her couch.
Yes.
And then she's like, "Spencer, you're making me cry right now." And he goes, "No, you're making yourself cry." Oh my god.
It's so bad. Um,
There is one more thing I remember from the show. It's
yeah.
when they accused Kristen of having a drug problem because she was wearing sunglasses.
Yes. Oh my God. I can't believe I didn't write this. I thought I was going to write it down. But yes, I remember watching that because they were in Miami.
Yeah.
And oh my God, it was so bad. Kristen, people are say it. Do you really want me to say it? Say it. They think you have a drug problem. Well, that's just great.
Because she's wearing sunglasses. If anything, it's she's drinking, not.
Literally. I thought that was
Oh
so
my god.
funny. They were grasping for straws, literally.
They really were. It was a struggle in that last season.
I mean, yeah, it was. And then just to round out the series itself, the final episode basically ends with Brody sending Kristen off to Europe. She says she's going to go to Europe, and basically there's a backdrop in a film lot, and it all kind of dissipates behind him to show that the entire thing was staged and filmed and fake, and nothing was real. And don't trust reality TV, basically.
And then the alternative ending.
Yes, the alternative ending, which I don't know what that would have done for us, but the alternative ending, which if you've there was a special that showed it, basically he does that and then sends her off, and then he comes back to his condo, and Elsie Lauren is waiting for him, and basically says something like goodbyes are always hard or something like that, and she like smiles, and it's basically just like the end. um
So weird.
that was cheesy. I don't think that would have worked. I don't think it would have been nice to see
Well,
her.
I think they filmed it like as a bonus so that we were like, oh, tea or whatever.
Yeah,
And then it's just kind of like Lauren was in on it too.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah, I just remember when the special came out on Amazon. I actually bought it, and it sits forever on my Amazon account. So I don't want to get rid of this Amazon because I bought it for like $2 5 6 years ago, whatever it was. But it highlights a lot of dark stuff in the show. It doesn't do as much like shedding light on good
Yeah.
stuff. That really touched a lot on Jason's addiction issues, and it kind of shows how the breakup scene went down and how he was actually really
Yeah.
screwed up during that scene, which is
Oh
sad.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that was The Hills. God, I talked forever. I am so sorry, everybody. So sorry.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to cut some of this down. And I know we had some time where we were having connection issues, but we're
Okay.
at like 2 hours.
Shut up. Oh my God.
So you guys, we know this is a long episode, but like we had the Olsen twins and we had the Hills. Like we had to.
We
So
did.
anywho,
Sorry,
thank you
guys.
guys for listening. Again, please like and subscribe and follow and rate and review depending on what you're on. But yeah, we will catch you next week.
Bye, guys.